Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time.
This week on the Kindness Project, we talk about Greek history facts, trolling Twitter, and we are joined by Chris Budd, author of Financial Wellbeing. You can let me start? Welcome, my friends, to the Kindness
My
Project.
friends, Romans and countrymen.
I don't even know where that came from.
Okay.
I'm joined by a man who likes to laugh at me for carrying boxes of sausage Swizzlers. It's-
What's a sausage twizzler?
I don't know. It's Chris Dames.
You were carrying a bag of turkey Twizzlers earlier on.
I thought they were sausage Swizzlers.
Now we, as a household, we normally go quite healthy, but for some reason, a bag of turkey Twizzlers has popped up.
I thought they were sausage Swizzlers.
I don't know, what's a sausage Twizzler?
I think they're knockoff turkey Twizzlers.
Right. And I'm joined by a girl who's got an interesting fact about Greece.
Oh, you're
It's Charlotte
share
Dames.
the interesting fact.
So tell us a little bit about your Grecian facts.
About No Day.
About No Day.
About the 28th of October.
Yeah,
They have a national holiday called No Day, or Ochi Day, I think it is.
That sounds Japanese, doesn't it?
But it has something to do with the World War, and they said no to oncoming invaders, and then about a couple of months later, they invaded anyway, and then they stayed occupied from 1940 to 1944.
There you go. History.
Yeah. And some museums classify it as a national holiday and give you free entry on that day, including the Byzantine Museum in the second largest city in Greece.
Welcome to the Greek Facts History Podcast with Charlotte Dames.
I was doing research on the Byzantine Museum.
Okay, fair enough. So we know some facts about Greece. What else is going on in your life at the minute?
Exams.
Have you got any exams about the Byzantine Museum?
No.
Oh, that would have been quite useful, seeing as you've been doing loads of research on it.
It was for my article for this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing landmarks.
Check out Charlotte's website, www.charlottedames.com. On Twitter, she's at Holla Charlotte. No. At Charlotte J Dames.
Yes.
And she is a bona fide Twitter troll, because she has been, every time I put a tweet out there, somebody comments.
I've done it twice. And it was one on a picture of a sunset, and I put a picture
No, you know
because
what?
it was a picture of
Yeah.
you that I took
But
of you taking the picture of the sunset.
But the reason that I say you're a Twitter troll, Twitter troll? What is a Twitter troll? Is that a sausage twizzler? Is that a new name for a sausage twizzler? The Twitter troll? I've lost my train of thought. No, the reason I say you're a Twitter troll is because you are so lovely. You wouldn't actually put anything troll-like on Twitter. Just sort of
We have bands.
teasing your dad, bantering with your dad is part of the thing.
You don't like that I call you old man, but you have to accept that it's actually a term of endearment.
It is. It is.
I did have some scheduled topics for today.
Okay, we'll talk about topics in a minute, but what I want to do is just give a big shout out to Serena, who came on. We've literally just interviewed Serena. Her interview and the work she does at the Hygiene Bank are both amazing, and that interview is going to be on in a couple of months' time. But thank you, Serena. We really appreciate you coming on. We really had an amazing laugh and really enjoyed it. Although I may be banned from my local boots. You have to
Find out
you'll
more
have to
next
listen.
time.
That was a teaser. You have to find out more.
Next time on the Kindness Project.
Right, so what else are we talking about?
Right, okay. I for some reason closed my laptop when all of my information is on here.
No, this is what they call dead air. I don't know how I'm meant to fill it.
Bridges.
Right.
What do you like about bridges?
I know we're 100 odd episodes in, but have we got that desperate?
Yeah,
What do we like about bridges?
No, me and Soph were having a conversation about bridges when I wrote it. So I put bridges because it was fun when me and Soph were talking
All right,
about
what do you like about bridges?
They're tall and
They're tall, yeah, go on. What else?
they help you cross water, and they are
Sorry,
marvels,
Captain Obvious.
and they are marvels of architectural design.
what's your favourite bridge? I mean, weirdly, we got part 2 of where have you gone? We've got part 2 of Chris Budd's interview this week, and he's from Bristol. And Bristol's got a good bridge, the Clifton Suspension Bridge. Welcome to World War History and Bridges podcast. What is going on? Why did you make me talk about bridges?
We can move on. We can move on.
No.
I have 2 more topics.
No. What's your favourite bridge?
All of them in London. The ones we walked across. You know, the 10 of them. Well, we actually walked 11 on the 2 years that we did it because we made the mistake of doing it wrong the first time.
We went the wrong way.
But all of them were pretty nice, yeah.
You know what? When you talk about London bridges, Tower Bridge has got to be the boss. You know, Tower Bridge is an amazing bridge. London Bridge...
It's a bridge with a tower.
Yeah,
What's not to love?
It's
especially tall.
Well, and the other thing is as well, you can go to the top of Tower Bridge, and they've got a glass walkway, and you can see below. It's amazing. If you're ever in London, check out Tower Bridge.
Perks of Tower Bridge. It goes over water, and it's especially tall, and it is a marvel of architectural design.
All right, so we've done bridges.
Right, vegetables. At this point, I got bored and just used a random
Can I just say, Charlotte's actually done research for this. She's actually looked it up and gone, right, what am I talking about? Bridges and vegetables.
If by research you mean a random word generator and then adjusting the words to fit the topic,
Right.
because I didn't think talking about aubergines was going to
Okay,
be
so let me give you my vegetable theory. Okay.
legumes. Vegetable theory.
So you've every time on this podcast you just say random words and it puts me off. So let me give you
That's related this to
let me give you my vegetable theory. Spinach is the most underrated vegetable, and please tell me spinach is a vegetable.
I don't know that much about vegetables.
So sorry, you've picked vegetables as a topic.
I told you aubergines was going to be boring, so
Right.
I just said vegetables in general.
Right, so give us a general vegetable discussion point.
Tomatoes, vegetables or fruits? Trick question. They are fruits in the vegetable category.
Right, so we've done bridges and vegetables. What's next?
Retro, because I bought that DS and you told me it was retro because apparently
Okay.
it was from my childhood.
So here's
But
an
it's my
unofficial
childhood.
question of the podcast. How far back has something got to be retro? Because I suppose, the DS is retro to you, and I think no,
It's my childhood.
but that is retro, isn't it? Something from your childhood.
When I say childhood, I mean 8 years ago.
Yeah, I wish my childhood was 8 years ago. So now,
It's okay. It will be eventually.
after talking about vegetables and bridges, I feel like I'm aging as time goes
Don't
by.
worry, this is my last topic point.
Good.
For this week, I've got 3 more for next week that make even less sense.
We do less sense than bridges and vegetables.
You want an insight? Frogs, Egypt, obsolete careers.
Okay, I actually like obsolete careers as a topic.
Yeah, I was thinking about blacksmiths,
Yeah.
and I got bored, so I put obsolete careers on the
Yeah,
list.
cobblers. You don't see that many cobblers knocking about, do you?
I don't even know what a cobbler is.
You don't know what a cobbler
No,
is?
it's making me think of peaches.
No, it's a guy who repairs shoes. Cobbler.
Oh, like the little man with the little elves.
I've never seen a cobbler with elves in real life. Anyway, that's our topics done
week.
for next week. Yeah, and we'll be talking about cobblers and talking cobblers probably, definitely. Anyway, on that note, can you let people know where they can get in touch with us?
After you tell them the question of the week.
Oh, question of the week.
Podcast. Well,
Podcast question of the week is: what is your most ambitious goal in 2021? Now we're in 2021 now, but and actually, as we sit here today, we're still in lockdown. But the reality is that we've all got aspirations to do stuff in 2021. What is your most ambitious goal for 2021? Shoot.
me, pass my exams because I didn't sit GCSEs. The school was like, yeah, we need you to sit exams before you sit your A levels, so we're doing the AS exams, except we're not sitting them now because the government's decided this year we're not doing exams either. So hopefully I will be passing my ASs from the comfort and stress location of my own home.
Yeah, maybe. And I'm probably going to be doing an exam from the comfort of my own home in February as well.
Oh yeah, I've got exams.
My biggest ambition is to actually do the London Marathon in October. So I'm hoping that gets done. And I'm just doing me 2021 planning at the minute. So there was probably going to be a few more goals on there. I'd absolutely love to get the Kindness Project to 100,000 downloads. That would be an aspiration.
40 to go. Well, yeah, 40 to go.
30 odd. So
33.
We'll get there. Hopefully this year, and we will get to the 100,000 download mark. We really enjoy doing that. Listeners, let us know what your ambitious goal is. We'd love to hear from you, and as always, let us know. So, where can people let us know?
Okay. Oh, that's the wrong website. That's for the Kindness News.
Right.
Please stop staring at my laptop. It's distracting. So Twitter at All the Kindness, Facebook The Kindness Project. Just type it into the search bar. It's sort of magic. I don't know how it works.
It's the whole of the internet magic. It is, isn't it? Yeah. I thought so.
I don't know how it works. I just type in it goes. And you can find us respectively on Twitter at Chris Dames.
At Chris Dames, CHRISDAEMS, and at Charlotte. Where can we find you on Twitter?
At Charlotte J Dames, CHARLOTTEJDAEMS. That's a lot more letters.
Instagram. You're on Instagram.
I am, but I'm not giving it away.
Okay. MySpace.
I wish.
Simpler
times.
That new right-wing one that people banned on Twitter are jumping on. You on that one?
No.
So that's all right.
I think we missed the website and the email.
And the website is www.kindness. thekindnessproject.co.uk.
And the email is ola@thekindnessproject.co.uk.
With an H, remember?
Okay.
With an H.
Okay, I understand. I already said it.
Holla at thekindnessproject.co.uk. I'm having a meltdown. Anyway.
It was bound to come one of these days.
Yeah. on air meltdown. And on that note, should we move on?
Yes.
It's Kindness News.
Oh, Kindness News. Righto. Once again this week, I don't have a coherent story system. I just went on Good News Network and I just picked stories that appealed to me.
It's random edition this week, clearly.
Again, for like the 4th or 5th time. Ex-wife of Amazon CEO was given away $4 billion in last 4 months. This is an old story from last year. And when I say last year, I mean last December. Right. To help those affected by the pandemic. Mackenzie Scott, who was married to Amazon founder Jeff Bezos for 25 years, has donated more than $4 billion in the past 4 months to hundreds.
Was you going to say the past 4 months?
Yeah, I've been doing it all week. I was doing one of my classes, and I had to write male role models, and I instead wrote
role mole models.
Role mole models.
What is a role mole model? I mean, it's an interesting concept.
Don't know. Organisations and charities, in particular food banks and emergency relief funds across the US. A month after her divorce from the world's richest man, Scott signed the Giving Pledge, an initiative sparked by Bill Gates and Warren Buffett a decade ago, a promise to give away her billions until the safe is empty. Last July, have to adapt that. Last July, she began making good on her promise, with GNN reporting that she had already donated $1.7 billion of her $60 billion fortune to 116 charities. Sorry, I tried to do quick maths then, and then I remembered I wasn't good at it.
So the divorcee of Jeff Bezos, what's her name?
Mackenzie Scott.
Mackenzie Scott is giving away a massive chunk of money to loads and loads of charities for the pandemic. Yeah. What's your next story?
Community gives new car to Maui security guard who rode his bike to strangers' doors to return lost wallet. Okay. We've all heard of an aha moment when something confusing suddenly makes sense or a brilliant idea shows up out of the blue. Well, it seems that in Hawaii That's also something known as an aloha moment, an occasion that offers the opportunity to bestow an act of love or kindness.
I see. You know what? As a concept, that's an amazing name. The aloha moment. Love that.
Chloe Marino was shopping at Kahului. I was reading it in my head when I was reading over this story, but saying it out loud sounds weird. Anyway, Hawaii supermarket with her 5-month-old son. As sometimes happens, she got distracted and accidentally left her wallet behind. Luckily, the wallet was spotted by eagle-eyed store security guard Ina Townsend. What's a nice name? Who volunteered to return it to its owner after a shift. Not having a car, the plucky 22-year-old took it upon himself to bicycle for nearly an hour up 3 hills in the dark to the Marino's door. Chloe, who didn't even realise she'd misplaced her wallet, was blown away by Townsend's determination, as well as his willingness to help out a total stranger.
Amazing. Love
Her husband, Gray, was so impressed that he posted an account of Townsend's good deed to his Facebook page, and one reader was so moved that she started a GoFundMe page campaign after learning Ana's story.
And it's interesting, isn't it? That GoFundMe is a really direct way that you can support people. I love it. And what he bought a car with the proceeds.
On New Year's Eve, the friends and family of Ana and Gray gathered at a local car dealership and presented a brand new automobile to the Townsend family after collecting $25,000 in aloha donations.
Amazing, love it. Yeah, that's such good news for somebody who's doing great work. And have you got one more?
I've got one more.
Okay.
Green-thumbed man grows plant worth $15,000 per leaf, inspired by grandmother's love.
Is this plant made of gold?
A green-thumbed grit.
A green-thumbed... Yeah, you've done it again. A green-thumbed grit. A green-thumbed Brit
has grown the ultimate collection of houseplants, including a species worth $15,500 a leaf. 30-year-old Tony LeBritton turned his lounge into a jungle and transformed his spare room into an incredible greenhouse to nurture his passion. He has collected some of the world's rarest plants, including one previously thought to be extinct. And Tony from Gloucestershire, England, is now hawking the leaves of another rare species for thousands of dollars per leaf to eager collectors. He's not only good at grooming plants, he is a top hair and beauty photographer professionally. His prized possession, that'd be the Rhaphidophora tetrus, the most valuable species in this collection.
So what's the story then? What's he doing with the plant?
He's selling the leaves.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And it's inspired by his grandparents' love. Love it.
Tony credits his interest in plants with his grandparents, who would take him to their garden when he was a small boy. He also remembers sitting at his grandmother's feet and watching the popular BBC television show Gardener's World. Tony said his grandmother Cora was known in the local area for a plant collection, which he has tried to emulate.
And clearly he's doing an amazing job. So that's amazing news. Thank you, Charlotte, for that edition of Kindness News. On that note, we are going to get to our second part of our interview with Mr. Christopher Budd. Chris is super insightful. We talk about all aspects of well-being and how to live a life that is happy, whatever that means for you. You get definite insight from our conversation with Chris. Enjoy.
I have a few people who, because I've been on Twitter for quite a long time, and occasionally you get somebody who's just starting and they say, what would be your tip for a social media policy? I have a very, very simple social media policy. Don't be a dick.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, agreed.
Do anything you like, just don't be a dick.
Well,
Sorry, go on.
My big one is assume that you're never going to change somebody's mind on Twitter, ever. Because again, weirdly, I think social media is amazing, but it's not the medium for engaged, nuanced debate. So I used to think I could pretend I could change people's mind on it, but you definitely can't.
So just back to that, because I strayed us off a little bit to that, but number 4 is I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends.
Yeah.
And for me, that is the biggest thing in life. I mean, there's lots of studies. The great one is the Harvard study on happiness, which you can Google, which is just mind-blowing. But there are 5 areas of well-being, okay? This is according to Gallup polls in a really good book called Well-Being. There are 5 parts to well-being. They are career, social, financial, physical, and community.
Yeah.
And what is absolutely crucial to understand is that it's not about which one of those is most or less important.
It's getting the balance
about
right.
how they all work together.
Yeah, gotcha. No, I agree.
It's the independence of those 5 areas of well-being that we need to build on at the same time. If you have, for example, I don't know, massive financial and career well-being, because you're doing a really high-paid job, you're a high flyer and getting paid loads of money, but you got no friends and your family hates you because you're never at home, you haven't got well-being.
Yeah, agreed.
So it's about having those 5 in balance, and I think we could learn more from that on a community, on a governmental level. That it's not all about growth, it's all about GDP. It's about those 5 areas building in balance.
And the interesting thing is, there's always, as you said, there's always an element of imbalance, but it's just being conscious of that and trying to get the balance back.
Absolutely.
You know what? If I'm being perfectly frank, last couple of years, and this is something I've been thinking about quite a lot, I've probably been a bit of a rubbish friend. So I've been a good dad. Business is fine, economically fine, all good in that. But then you have conversations like this, and you go, you know what? There's always gaps, and being conscious of those gaps and doing something about it is the key, isn't it?
It is, and I think you've nailed it there, Chris. It's about being conscious of the gaps, know thyself, and that's not a one-off event. Know thyself is an ongoing process forever and ever and ever. Somebody like me, I probably go over it a bit too much too often, but it's all about working out what you want from life. And spending money on that, and keep doing it, keep working it out. I guess I will respond with my own honesty, Chris. There's one area of my life that I find frustrating, is that my friends are rubbish at going out.
Yeah, gotcha.
So I live in a village, and in my village, the local pub is half empty most of the week.
Yeah.
And I wish I could. There's nothing makes me happy than just going on the pub for a pint or two in the middle of the week with a couple of mates and having a yak. I love that.
Yeah.
So that's an area of my life that I continually work on.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Talk to me about, I mean, it's interesting when you talked about the experience you went through when you had your muzzy head. What got you to the point where you asked for help?
I think there are massive generalisation, Claxon. Okay.
Yeah.
I think there are 2 types of people in life.
Can I ask our editor Russell just to put the sound effect on in post? Just that we need a klaxon in our life, Russ. So if you want to add that for Chris's benefit, that's fine. We'll do our own klaxon. It's all good.
Yeah, why not? Generalisation, Claxon. So there are 2 types of people in life. When you are criticised, do you A, assume the other person is an idiot and how dare they criticise you, or do you B, immediately criticise yourself and think that you're a terrible person?
Yeah.
And I came across this recently. I definitely won't name the person, but I tried to give some feedback to somebody, and I tried to make it as positive as possible. Honestly, I did, in a very appreciative, inquiry way. But they immediately got defensive.
Gotcha.
And the next day, they apologised and said, "Actually, I think you probably had a reasonably good point, but I wasn't really receptive to it at the time, and I reacted badly." I am the sort of person that if I get some criticised, I immediately go quiet and go away and work out how I could have been such a complete idiot as to start everything so terrible.
There are variations on that. That is a spectrum, Chris. You haven't got to go and beat yourself up for 3 days to do that. You do realise that.
I am at that end of the spectrum.
Okay.
So actually, for me, asking for help is very, very easy because I'm always assuming that I'm wrong. And that I'm an idiot and I haven't understood it properly. So I'm constantly checking myself. So when I sat there and I going to the GP in itself was asking for help. When I realised that questionnaire was no good, I had to find out other ways to work out where things were going wrong for me.
As we're talking book, I'm sorry to interrupt, mate. I'll let you finish it. But as we're talking books, there was a a book called Lost Horizons a few years ago, written by a guy called Joanne Hari. He's a journalist who, funny enough, went through a similar situation, had a muzzy head, and his doctor put him on antidepressants for years, and then realised that what he actually needed was a sense of community and happiness and all of these things we've been talking about to fill some of the gaps in his life. But how do you know, I suppose, how do you know you're asking for help from the right person? Because sometimes you could argue that your GP might not be that person if it's a mental health issue.
Yeah. I'm sorry to be repetitive. It's know thyself.
Yeah.
It's about, look, there are people who are happy.
Yeah.
Buddhists are pretty happy. I think that if you were to do the old quiz program, we ask 100 people in the audience which sort of people are happy. Buddhists would often come up as the most quoted, wouldn't they, at being happy?
I'd say so, yeah.
Look, I've also got some experience where people with terminal illness can often be quite happy.
Yeah.
I had one particular friend who had a terminal illness, and obviously in the past tense because he died, and he was achingly happy, I mean painfully happy.
Yeah.
In fact, he used to do this thing at parties, which was hilarious. It was almost mean of him, because he'd have an oxygen tank by his side,
Right.
and the tubes going into his nose. And you'd say, Dave, this is Bill. Bill, this is Dave. And they go, hi, Bill. Hey, tell me, are you happy? How do you answer that question?
Yeah, exactly.
When you first met somebody.
Yeah.
Are you happy? Well, I don't know. They'd look at his oxygen tank and they go, how do I answer that? You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, literally, that is putting somebody on the spot. Like, could you?
There are people who are happy.
But you know what's interesting about that, right?
Sorry, Chris. Just if I may, if there are people that are happy, that means it's possible to do.
True, but I tell you what's interesting about the point you just made. I think part of that is if you're saying you look at your mate with his oxygen tank, and there's an element of I think gratitude makes you happy and thankfulness makes you happy as well, right? So maybe putting people on the spot is the right thing to do because it gives them a bit of a mental check. They go, oh, actually, I'm not dying, so I'm sort of. Well, what was his validation for asking? Did you ever ask him? What, did he just like winding people up?
No.
Yeah.
Because he was happy. And he was wanting to share his happiness. And how about this, Chris? What if you were actually happy all along and you never knew it?
Yeah, that's true.
Imagine getting to a point of a diagnosis of something terrible and then going, I need to make all these changes to my life. Actually, I don't.
Yeah, I'm relaxed. Yeah.
I have all the things that I wanted and I just never realised it.
Yeah.
Because I was so busy paying attention to all the noise and all the crap telling me I'm not happy.
Yeah, true.
And so here's a thing. You will have come across this as well. In all the years that I have been a financial planner or was a financial planner, the one common thing was I noticed that when you got to the stage of being able to tell somebody you actually have all the money to do all the things you want, right? And I've been able to do that a few times. It takes a lot of time to help people work out what they want, but when you get to that, and you do the forecasting and the planning and the coaching, and you say you actually have all the money to do all the things that you want, what are you going to do now? The next thing they do, 9 times out of 10, is they say, I'd like to help somebody else.
Yeah.
And that comes back to our bit at the beginning, that kindness is selfish.
Yeah, agreed. So help me understand what you do in your life in terms of that. I know your wife is a cancer nurse, isn't she?
Yes, she is, yeah.
So her career is helping other people. How was part of her going into that career because she wanted to help?
Yeah, completely. Absolutely. And actually, one of the ways in which she's so good, she gives the chemo. She's quite well qualified. But one of the ways that she's very well qualified. One of the ways that she's really good is she listens.
Yeah.
She listens to people, she gives them time. All the proceeds from my financial wellbeing book go to a charity called the Penny Bron, BROHN, Penny Bron Cancer Centre.
Yeah.
And they're all about supporting people who have cancer, because our bodies are hardwired to mend themselves.
Yeah.
It's only what we do to them that stops that from happening.
Yeah.
We have cells within us that go around gobbling up the cancer cells. There's an extraordinary bit of video footage which actually shows these cells going up to a cancer cells, cutting it up and eating it, right?
Yeah.
So what we should be doing is increasing our resilience in order that our bodies can help fight cancer itself. Now, that's not saying instead of conventional medicine, it's nothing like that, but it's supported. There have been many examples of people who do it instead of, but that's not necessarily what one would advise. But it means we can increase our chances by looking after ourselves, and that can be nutrition, that can be health, it can be exercise, but it is also being happy, and it's also about helping other people.
Yeah.
Because that's the way that it makes us happy. It's a selfish and it's an acceptable selfish thing to do.
Yeah, you know what? It's really interesting. When I'm doing research for the book, one of the things that I've been looking at is what the NHS prescribe to aid well-being. I don't know if you've seen this, because the NHS has got 5 steps to mental well-being. It's on their website, and again, it's a lot of the stuff we've talked about. Connect with other people, be active, keep learning, give to others, and be mindful. But that give to others is an intrinsic part of our well-being. You know, how are you helping other people in the world live their lives in a better way? I think it's fundamental. But yeah.
And so if we come on to what might be a suitable way of closing this conversation, because if you put this whole conversation out live on your podcast, it'll have about an hour, the poor bloke, people. But
there's 2 of them.
When it comes to my granny, right, my little old granny, 4'6", big white afro, she was crazy. And when she was 82, there was this thing called the Sunshine Coach. Right. I don't know if the Sunshine Coach or Sunshine Tour still exists, but it's tours for old people, and she would go down and help out. My dad would say to her, "Mum, what are you doing tomorrow?" I said, I'm helping out. I'm helping out with the old people at the Sunshine Coach. They were all in their 70s. She was 82.
Yeah.
But she would say, "I'm helping out with the old people."
Yeah.
But
that's a state of mind thing, isn't it? She's clearly sort of not aged her in her own head. She wants to help out. Yeah.
But the thing is, it gave, and this is the word to perhaps just summarise all this up, Chris. It gave her purpose.
Yeah, agreed.
And that is the thing. You know, your brilliant podcast that has touched so many people gives you purpose.
Yeah, I love it.
My financial well-being stuff gives me purpose. My helping other companies, funnily enough, ironically, the employee ownership thing and succession planning is all about trying to get companies to realise what the company purpose is and align it with the purpose of the employees. And that's a big part. So actually, purpose has overtaken well-being. Is my buzzword.
but interestingly, Chris, a lot of the conversations I'm having with clients at the minute is about purpose, because they're getting to a point where they know they're never going to run out of money again, and they're saying, what's next? Do you know, if money's not my driver anymore, what is my driver? And the driver has got to be purpose, right? The driver is what defines my life in a way that's going to be meaningful to me.
Know thyself.
Yeah.
The tip I would give to people there who are going through this, those lucky enough who are of a financial position to be able to be thinking like that. And by the way, that's a lot more people than realise they are.
Yeah.
Because money doesn't make us happy.
Yeah.
Anyway, the big tip I would give is the purpose it's not, for example, it's not travel. Yeah. A lot of people say when I retire I'm looking forward to going travelling. Well, that's great and an enjoyable thing to do, but that doesn't give you purpose, that doesn't give you meaning.
Yeah.
So find something that gives you well-being by what it is going to achieve. As David Heimer says, meaning is how you spend your day. Purpose is what gets you out of bed in the first place.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, that's powerful, actually. That's really good. I like that. Right, that is amazing and a really good way to finish the podcast. But we never, ever let a guest go without asking them some of our famous questions of the podcast. So I'm going to pick a few random ones, Chris, and you're going to tell me what the answer is. So these aren't kindness related; they're absolutely random. So we'll give it a go with the first one, which is if you could steal one skill from one of your parents, what would it be?
Blimey, that's tough, actually. My mum was a marriage guidance counsellor.
Okay.
For a while. I don't know what specific skill that would have needed, but I suspect I don't have it.
Well, there's probably a bit of coaching in there. I mean, certainly. What's the give me a top piece of advice you have ever received?
You should have given me these in advance. I could have come up with some better answers. Top bit of advice I've ever received. Can I just slightly change it? And there was a book that changed my life, which kind of gave me advice, but it wasn't directly. Which was a book called The Long Walk.
Okay.
By a guy called Slavomir Ravic, about a Polish war officer. A true story of a guy who escapes from a Siberian camp,
right,
and then walks with a few other people across the Gobi Desert. And not a spoiler alert, because he wrote the book. Yeah. He survives, but it's an incredible story. And there's a moment where I was sat on Rains Park train station in London, and I was in a miserable job, drinking too much, hating my work. And I finished this book, and I sat at the train station and floods of tears, and I just thought, what am I doing?
Doing my life.
This guy can do this, you know. So the bit of advice was, don't just sit around waiting for something to happen to you.
Yeah.
Make it happen. You know,
don't be passive with your own life, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I found a movie-related one, Chris, you'll be pleased to know. So what's the worst movie you've ever seen?
Well, there's a lot of those, aren't there? I saw one recently, which I don't like to say bad things about people.
No, I know.
Because everybody puts a lot of work and effort in to make films.
Agreed.
I suspect Sex and the City 2 would have been pretty terrible if I'd bothered to watch it. That's not my scene.
I mean, as an optimist and somebody who likes to stay positive, I'm with you with that. I mean, as you say...
I find that such a hard question to answer because, I wouldn't watch it if it was bad.
Well, I feel that way. I'd completely appreciate that. I've got one exception to that, Nicolas Cage. Right, Nicolas Cage is just one of the worst actors I've ever seen in my life.
So I'm going to give you an answer to your worst movie that I did watch all the way through, and this is a movie that makes me angry, physically angry, which is Wolf of Wall Street.
Ah, yes,
because it's a film that celebrates excess and wealth, and it's the sort of noise that we were talking about. It's the sort of film that makes people think that they need to be like that to be happy.
Well, you know what I'd put in the same boat as that, The Apprentice at the moment. Because it's like it's like what? Hold on, is that what you really think you need to behave like to run a successful business? Because it's just weird. It's just weird. Tell me your funniest travel story.
I can't.
How about your third funniest? Because I've got a feeling 1 and 2 are going to be. Okay, no, here's one for you. It's because I know you, and if you want to play it, Chris, you can do that. If you had your own intro music, what song would you choose?
Can this come across? I would tune on guitar first, is what I'd do.
Yeah.
My own intro music would be my happiest, cheerfulest music is Love Cliché by a band called Brown Band 3000.
Okay.
Just every time it starts to play, it makes me smile.
Okay, and I don't know that song, so I'm going to be Spotifying that when I finish. What's the most childish thing you still do? So my one is Sophie's got a trampoline in our back garden, and on a regular basis you will still see me out jumping on that trampoline. What's yours?
When I wear my socks in the kitchen and I go to the fridge and I have to turn around, I push myself off and I swivel on my back heel. And I'm just going to take it until the very last moment, and then I just casually land and I move. And I'm very proud that I can get the level of strength exactly right
Still
to
do it.
swivel all the way around the kitchen on my heels.
Amazing. I'm trying that tonight. And if you could fly for one, no, I'm going to give you a different one actually. Let me try this one.
While you're looking, there's a great line from somebody I heard years ago who was lying in bed with his wife, and his wife said, "Tell me, do you love me?" And he looked her in the eyes and said, "Ask me when I'm at sport."
Oh, I love it. And what I've got, we've not asked this question yet. I've got on here, what summer song would you add to your playlist? But actually, let's mix it up a bit now the weather's turning a bit. What's your favourite winter song?
So a song called Mississippi by John Phillips. John Phillips was the singer-songwriter for the Mamas and the Papas, and then for a solo album he did in the 70s, there's a song called Mississippi, which is would be my uplifting, cheerful song.
Amazing. And last one, what would be your ideal GPS voice? Who would you have on your sat nav?
There's a lady on, well, this is going to be a bit revealing. Prince does, Prince's last few albums, I love my music, Prince's last few albums were brilliant. And there was one of them, which I think was Artificial Age, where he had a lady who was reviving him and she was quite a posh English voice.
Okay.
I confess that kind of did something to me, so she can do it.
Amazing, good stuff. And last couple of questions. Tell us what's...
Are you going to keep going until you get an answer you like?
Listen, mate, I've got 93 of these. We are 90 odd podcasts in, so I've got plenty. So I'm literally bringing a selection. Tell us a little bit about what's next for you.
Well, the Institute of Financial Wellbeing has we've just announced the intention of creating that. Unfortunately, it's called the Initiative of Financial Wellbeing because we can't use the word institute until the government say we can.
Okay.
But that was put out to all financial planners and advisors and said, anybody want to get involved in this? And I thought we might have 30 or 40 people and we might have a little club. And so far I've had 380
Amazing.
Firms say they want to get involved.
Yeah.
I think there is a real, I try and avoid the word zeitgeist, but there is a real buzz, a real feeling at the moment, especially in financial services, that what's the point of all this money?
Yeah.
We're hurtling towards the end of humanity as we know it. But there's a fantastic cartoon, Chris, I'll just share with you, which is of this guy sitting around a campfire, and he's in rags, and behind you can see there's been Armageddon, and there's two children sitting listening to him. And the guy's saying to the two kids, yeah, but for a while there, we really added to shareholder value.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I love that cartoon, and I think there's a realization that there's a bit more to life than accumulation of wealth. So the Institute of Financial Wellbeing is taking up a huge amount of time to get it going, but there's lots of people volunteering to get involved, so hopefully that will become a real force for good. And then on the succession planning side, I'm speaking to literally hundreds of business owners about how they can sell their businesses in a way that will be meaningful and give them a reasonable amount of money for their exit as well. So those two things are keeping me extremely busy at the moment.
Cool, all good. And where can people find out a little bit more about you online?
So they can, if they're interested in the Institute, it's members@ifw.org.uk.
Yeah.
If anybody's interested in succession planning, then theeternalbusiness.com is the place to look. Or type my name into Amazon and you'll see my books and novels are all on there.
Amazing. Thanks, Chris. Really great to talk to you, mate.
Real pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Cheers. Right, let me turn this off. Just bear with me.
So that was good, wasn't it?
That was good.
That was good. Shall we get to the end of the show?
Can I
Do
do
it.
the thing?
Do
Can I
it.
do the thing?
Knock yourself
Right, so
out.
out of my shop.
I've got to leave. Go on in, do it.
Tis the end of another podcast. Ta-da.
Can I come back in now?
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. I had to leave the shop.
Well, usually when we're doing this, we're sitting down, and I'm not.
You want to make use of the space,
I'm
don't
not rude enough to push you away,
Yeah.
but now I can just go. Can you
you?
back off, Bucko?
Bucko. Oh God, that'll be on Twitter later as an
Bucko.
insult. Back off, Bucko. If you tweet that to me at any point over the next week, back off, Bucko.
I'll do it next Saturday.
Insult of the week. Well, that could be a new segment for the Kindness Project.
I do have a
It's
joke.
not very kind.
I do have a joke of the week if you'd like it from
We'll
Reader's
do that at the end.
Digest.
We'll do. Right, we will talk about your Reader's Digest obsession at some point in the
They
future.
just do good jokes.
But on apparently the Reader's Digest is still around. I didn't even know.
It's online now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everything.
Okay, so the question of last week is, we're talking about, the question of the podcast this week is, what have you got planned for 2021? Last week it was,
What's the best thing that happened to you in
2020? Chris Haycock, who's a friend of the show, he's been on as a guest, runs a charity called Kitbag, said he had a collaboration between my charity and the Duchess of York, and he did amazing work on that. Tracy Dame said, getting my puppy Bella. Hazel Grace said, getting to spend, and again, friend of the show, I don't know if her interview's come up yet, but it is, spending more quality time with mum and actually being able to grow things in the garden. Judith Hitchens said, my mum was given the all clear from breast cancer. That's amazing news. Mike Christie said spending loads of time with Isla during lockdown 1 when the weather was gorgeous and the fun was immense. I love that. Sarah Robinson said, I invested in myself in 2020, went on loads of courses. Caroline Thompson went, the best thing for me was working from home. I really enjoyed working from home. I don't ever want to get on the tube again.
You missed one word. Jeremy,
good word. I like that word. Katie said the best bit about 2020 was family time and realising who and what is important in my life. And we said that during lockdown, didn't we? We said that actually lockdown was a good opportunity to spend time with the peeps.
with the fam.
With the fam. Trev said, my number one positive thing in 2020 was seeing my family and friends survive this awful year, but having more time to spend in my hobby, now my ambition. Gloria Molin said, spending meaningful time with husbands and kids. Lucy Patrick said, I had a daughter. Congratulations, Lucy. That's amazing. Dave Forsdyke said, I survived. Judy Bell said, I joined Action Coach in October as a business development manager. Justin Gaffney said, best thing about 2020, he made it to 50. And the great news is Justin made it to 50. He's still very cheeky. And I like the fact that age is no barrier to having a little bit of sass.
Or trick-or-treating.
No, you shouldn't really trick or treat as an adult, but anyway. Sharon
I know
Brower,
it's illegal some places, but that is not here.
Sharon Brower said, number one, I'll start my business. So that was her big thing. Fiona Maburgo said, being able to spend quality time with my 22-year-old. And Sean Acton said, I've liked the new way of working and I'm not away so much from home. And I loved listening to the birds sing during the first lockdown. Al McCann said, finding the future Mrs. Al. I don't think that's her name, but we'll have to see. Finding the Future, Mrs. L, and getting engaged. Congratulations, Alan. It's amazing news. And
Might be a bit late, but
yeah. And Alan Bowley said, my wife got a kidney transplant and is on the road to recovery, hopefully. So that, clearly, there's loads of positive stuff going on in 2020.
Yep. And hopefully loads more coming into 2021.
Hopefully,
well,
fingers
we're
crossed.
already in 2021.
Look, let's not pretend it wasn't a challenging year, but actually being grateful, looking at the positives, focusing on what you've actually got, has been a lot of those wins in 2020. Now, as a committed Reader's Digest fan, can we have your Reader's Digest joke of the week?
Yeah, if I...
Whenever you're ready.
Yeah, no, I accidentally...
This is a podcast.
I accidentally closed the tab. I'm so sorry, and my Wi-Fi is just being a bit of a.
So yeah, you've talked about the Reader's Digest joke of the week for ages, and yet you haven't got the. Oh no, you've got it.
I got it. It takes 2 seconds. Okay. A hand sandwich walks into a bar and orders a beer. Bartender says, "Sorry, we don't serve food here."
See that? There's a bit of tumbleweed just going past there.
No, all I see is your finger.
Thank you, Reader's Digest.
Thanks, listeners.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you
on the Kindness
for
Project.
digesting.
Reader. See you later.
Listener.
Bye.